Today's fun fact of the day has to do with anxiety. Did you know that anxiety quite literally stinks? People with anxiety describe neutral smells as bad smells. And the reason is that their emotional system becomes a part of their olfactory system or their smell system. No wonder the expression of life stinks is actually very popular. Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast, the podcast where we evolve into the best versions of ourselves, one awesome habit at a time. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. Anxiety today is a very big deal, especially in developing countries. Some estimates put it at 40 million people suffering in America alone. Now, the crappy part of this is that anxiety is completely treatable, but only 34% of that get any form of treatment. And this would be far lesser in other parts of the world. America is still very aware of the anxiety and its effects. But there's such a stigma attached to getting help from a mental disorder. Yet we would run to the doctor for a common cold. See, today's podcast is not about anxiety disorders, but bouts of anxiety that we face once in a while. These are normal and very common. This is that feeling that quickens our heart. It goes thump, 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 thump. That shortens our breath. That confusion of the mind, those sweaty palms, and those pesky butterflies in our stomach. All with a generous helping of fear. Now, does this sound familiar? Has it happened to you? Because it happens to all of us. You are not alone. Sometimes it's a passing feeling for a few minutes or an hour. Sometimes it lasts for a few days. And this is called free-floating anxiety. It is not caused by anything in particular. And it's often hard to pinpoint what is the reason for it. For example, you have arachnophobia and you see a spider, you have a direct cause of anxiety. Not so in the case when it is free-floating anxiety. While the free-floating anxiety is normal, it can start to disrupt lives very easily if not taken care of. Work and education can start to suffer, and the desire to perform is diminished. With your mind preoccupied, there is no way that you can complete tasks effectively. Overall, your energy starts being low and you start being lethargic. For others, it is their relationships that suffer. And it is very hard to maintain that love, that safe space, and that connect with a partner going through this free-floating anxiety. But the absolute worst effect is that of your overall health and life quality that starts declining with this free-floating anxiety. The feeling of that hopelessness, it keeps you wanting to work yourself more. Now, at this point, it must be said that I'm not a medical professional. Doctor is in my surname, it's not in the front of my name. And I'm not a mental health professional. I'm a habit coach. But what I can offer you is a temporary band-aid. It is something that can help you get out of this feeling of anxiety. And it consists of 3 introspective steps and 1 breathing exercise. Together, I call this the anti-anxiety habit. Do this as soon as you start seeing the signs of anxiety coming on. So step 1, ask yourself if you've had any stimulants recently. You see, many people overdose on coffee, the caffeine. They are poor caffeine metabolizers, and this brings up feelings of anxiety. Sometimes energy drinks, pre-workout drinks can all cause this. Even something as tiny as tea can cause this feeling of anxiety. So if you've been having lots of this tea and you realize, my anxiety is coming from the caffeine, from the coffee or the tea, you can drink a lot of water, do a few jumping jacks, get rid of that excess that you have in your body, and you will soon feel that anxiety pass. If you realize you've not had caffeine, if you've done the steps and still there's nothing, step 2. Now you ask yourself, is there any incompletions that you're subconsciously worried about? Maybe a phone call that you had to return, a project that is due, a presentation to an audience. I remember feeling this way before recording my first ever podcast here in the studio. The entire morning was sweaty palms, heart beating fast, till I realized why it was happening. Step 3, ask yourself if you've eaten anything out of the ordinary. You see, very often food that does not agree with us can cause that similar effect of anxiety because it's all happening in our stomach. Having rubbish food will make you feel blah. In this case, immediately pop 2 activated charcoal tablets to help ease that stomach and you'll start feeling better immediately. Remember what you've eaten, don't have it again. Finally, step 4. No matter what the cause of the anxiety, always do this one breathing technique. It's very simple. It is called the box breath, and it's taught to Navy SEALs to be able to remain calm in the middle of a gunfight. All you do is sit with one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Now, while you're breathing in, push gently against the hand that is resting on your belly so that your belly expands. While breathing out, the belly should move in. This box breathing technique consists of 4 seconds of breathing in, 4 seconds of holding the breath, 4 seconds of breathing out, and 4 seconds of holding the breath again on an exhale. I will explain on another podcast how you can do this breathing exercise. Now, I've already done many videos where you can follow along on the box breathing, and I'll probably tag them in the show notes below. With each breath, repeat the words that I'm telling you now. 3 simple words. Just keep repeating them. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. Now, this technique has helped many of my clients, and I wanted to share it with you because I feel there is so much joy in the world. And in order to discover that joy, taming this anxiety that we feel is key. So your anti-anxiety habit is to follow these 4 steps. Every time you start noticing the anxiety coming up, ask if you've had stimulants, ask if there's an incompletion, ask if you've had rubbish food. And finally, do the box breathing while saying, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. Let anxiety not have that sweaty, palmy grip on your life ever again. Share this with your friends who suffer from this, and let's see how we can make the world an anxiety-free place. If you like this episode, don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, give us a rating. It really helps with people discovering the podcast. If you like podcasts like this, check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can also watch all the episodes on the Habit Coach Awesome 180 YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. You can also reach out to me. I am Ashdin Doc at Twitter and Instagram. You can connect with me on my website, awesome180.com. You can also check out my 2 new books, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, and the second, The Book of Good Habits for Kids. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach.
IVM.